Hi. Just recently I had a chance to speak with my dear friend Gretchen Ryan, who I admire so much. Since my accident, finding her was a blessing. And she was so gracious in sharing some of her time and some of her outlooks on this life experience. We had an amazing, heartfelt conversation. One thing to mention is that there were some technical difficulties with the program that I used, and the video wasn't automatically switching back and forth between us. So I had to go in afterward and insert several photos of her to fill the space so it wasn't just me talking. But I hope you watch regardless. It would mean so much, and I think it's a really helpful conversation to hear for anyone. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.
Here we are. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be with my friend Gretchen, who inspires me so much. After I became injured and have this new life, living from a wheelchair with these new challenges, I was looking around for people to reflect beauty and grace to me in this similar situation. And I found Gretchen online, and I reached out to her, and she's an angel, so she wrote back to me, and now we are friends and developing a friendship. And so I'm so grateful, Gretchen, that you agreed to meet me here and speak with me about some important topics. And would you mind just briefly introducing yourself to everyone?
How long ago was that we met?
Maybe 9 years ago.
Wow, okay.
I want to light a candle for us, for our friendship, and for you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I love you, Gretchen.
I love you too, Heather.
I'm going to put it right here. Okay. So are you in your studio?
Yes.
That is so cool. You have a project going on right now?
Yes, I am doing a painting that I've been talking about doing since 2002. And it's a major animal rights painting. It's 13 feet wide by 7 feet tall. And it has over 40 species of animals represented through over 150 animals. And it's a huge epic scene. And so I planned it all last year, and I started working on the canvas late last year, and I think I'll be working on it for at least another year. And I'm so passionate about it, and I'm trying to do all these other things in my life to fund making it, but where my heart is, and it's going to be really awesome.
It is awesome. And one thing I love about you so much is the energy you put forth to protect and to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And I just want to honor you for doing that, because it's really important. I feel that all of us who are sharing this planet, it would be great if we could live in harmony, and it's great that you're an advocate for that harmony.
Yeah, it's going through what we've gone through, the suffering. I happened to me when I was just a teenager, 16, and it was a real wake-up call. Like, life was pretty okay, not perfect, but pretty okay until then, and then it was just devastating. And before then, I didn't really have a concept of what suffering was, and how lonely it is when and how extreme it can be. And I think people sometimes, even if we do go through things, we forget, but that physical suffering, like, no one comes to rescue you, like, you can just endure for months, years. So these poor animals languishing in cages and in factory farms are so extremely egregiously abused in today's world. And so I think that part of why I have such an understanding of that is because I've suffered, and I know that no one can rescue you and how terrible it is. And so it expanded my ability to have compassion, and want to do something about it.
Yeah.
We would want someone else to speak up for us if we were suffering in a cage and being killed.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I just want to ask you, would you share what happened in your accident? Like, I don't think anybody knows what we're talking about suffering. I mean, I've talked about my injury and everything, but can you share a little bit about it?
Wheelchair, and I uh, sustained. Well, I was in a car accident when I was 16. I was a passenger in a Jeep that drove off a cliff, and I had like a lot of internal injuries and ended up with paralysis, just nerve damage from a heart surgery from the accident. So I haven't been able to walk since then.
Yeah, so I understand that. And the strength that I see in you is so inspiring to me. The light that shines out of you, despite having that suffering, it inspires me so much every day.
That's so sweet, Heather. We inspire each other. Like I go to, I'm going to the Abilities Expo at the end of the week. And that's where it's a big event that they have in different cities around the country. But this week it's in Los Angeles. And when I go there, because I can just, being alone in a chair and only having been around all the other people that can walk in my life.
Yeah.
When I go there, I see children and people of all ages and people with all kinds of conditions. And a lot of people are a lot worse off than I am. And I see them going through their life and smiling. And what I feel for them is respect and admiration. And like, to me, it's like sort of this untouchable level of cool almost when they got this thing they're enduring so obviously, and I get a glimpse of how it looks from other people's point of view. There's a beautiful thing about people with disabilities that's consistent, which is humility. It just makes you feel like you feel so normal there, because everyone there has that situation, or they're a family member or a close friend that has a situation. So it's just like a few days of feeling normal and seeing all these new products and then I don't know, there's something really healing about it, and I would encourage you to go when you're ready. It's pretty great.
Excuse me. Thank you, Gretchen. So I want to talk about these questions that I'm going to ask throughout my interviews to everyone. The first question is about creativity, and I have a specific relationship to creativity and how I interact with it, and I'm curious how others relate to creativity and what it means to them. Obviously, you're an artist, but there may be other ways that you think about creation and creativity and what that means to you. Would you mind sharing anything you're thinking of?
Yes, sure. Well, I guess that's such a big question. I've wanted to do art since I was really little. I remember having that feeling like I want to be an artist before I knew the word artist, and that I just liked coloring and drawing, and I felt like I was. It just made sense to me, and I think that being creative is because we are created, and we're part of our parent, our source is the creator, and we're all children of God. And so it's so natural to want to make things and to express ourselves, tangibly and visibly, and all the ways that we do. And it's healing. And so I've been passionate about painting. Painting is what I've focused on. I love writing too. But painting and drawing to me was always what I really like to see in the world. And I'm a really visual person. And so I devoted myself to studying that I got 2 different art degrees, and I'm still devoted to painting. I love painting. I think my reason for doing it has changed because for a long time I was suffering so much emotionally after the accident and everything, and just having the trauma of growing up female and all of the pain of that experience. I was needed to work out, I think, through and art helped me express that I was suffering, and then now I don't feel like that same, it's coming from the same place. Now it's more about, well, right now it's about a message of compassion, where I'm more forward thinking now and wanting to celebrate life and express beauty and uplift and inspire more than it's a catharsis for myself, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And I can resonate with that so well, because through my process of healing, so much of my creativity, like you said, was like not really a call for help, but just like I needed to express the suffering, and I didn't, and that was one way. I know, like in high school, I was severely depressed, and my channel was, I spent a lot of time in the art department just creating, things, and sometimes they were really like raw and like, wow, but then it started to build my confidence, like as an artist, like, oh wow, I mean, people like what I'm like vomiting up, like how it, wow. And then yeah, now I've gone through this huge healing process, and I'm still on the healing journey for sure.
Yeah.
But it has turning around, like now I have this great desire to help others through whatever I'm creating, and that's why I'm starting to do these videos and things like that. Not just for myself. I feel like I want to start sharing more. Have you ever felt as an artist that you want to keep things close and maybe, like, I don't know, for me, I just feel like I've reached this turning point where I've realized how much power there is in connecting and supporting each other. You have a Patreon. You were talking about getting help funding your painting and that you're doing. And, I'm going to put a link to your Patreon for anyone who watches this video to go. And so I support you and you support me on my Patreon. And that's amazing. And you send these beautiful, high quality studies of the animals that you're painting.
I really appreciate hearing you say that, because part of me is thinking, are these just going in people's trash? Like,
No.
these is valuable. I really appreciate that you are enjoying them. That's so encouraging me to keep going.
And I have them, I mean, in my home, when you enter, I have them like, I have every time, like one hanging, like the new one. And the people that come to my home regularly, or I have an Airbnb, so everyone sees like, wow, what is this? Look at this, right? Because I have all sorts of art, and they're always drawn to yours. And then I explain, what you're doing, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Look at how beautiful. It's not just like what a skilled artist this person is, but there's a spirit that you're able to translate. And it's so obvious and powerful. You have a gift. Thank you for sharing it.
Much, Heather. I really appreciate that you can see it and hear that.
Yeah.
So nice. That's so encouraging. I'll keep doing the Patreon. I'll keep doing it.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, like, for me, I'm realizing that supporting each other is really where it's at, like maybe because I really needed to work on healing myself for a long time. And I'm an only child. So, I just didn't really have a lot of friendships. So I just, no one comes to rescue you, like you said, so I just felt like I needed to go at it alone. But now I feel like there's so much power in sharing and supporting each other. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's such a lesson, and it's so important. It takes a long time to learn. One thing that it makes me think of is just like the 12-step programs, because a big part of a person's recovery is going and helping other people, because they understand that principle. Because then you're not focused on yourself and your own problems. You're going and finding someone who's like struggling even more than you are maybe, and then you go help them, and by helping them it helps you. And so there's that. And then also just biblically, I don't know if this is in the Bible, but I've heard that fasting during that time, if you were fasting, you would make the food and give it away. And I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. And then, but the idea where, like, what Jesus would talk about was, you go help your neighbor, and then God takes care of you.
Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, which is hard to live, but it's the highest way to live. You focus on giving to others, and then trust God that God will take care of you to do it. And so how beautiful is that? If we all lived that principle, like, love your neighbor as yourself, like, go feed, go take care of, like, I mean, just be a blessing to somebody else, like you're doing, reach out, help Gretchen with her project, help your other friends with their projects, and then your project gets taken care of, and you weren't even worried about it. And it's part of it, I mean, there is also the idea of, like, if we worry, then it's sort of restricting things, because we keep living in this pattern of worry and things don't work out. But if we get our attention off the problems and focus on, doing something positive and helping somebody else, then that energy is freed up, so that, like, our own things start moving. I love all of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's really helping me. Yeah. Like, right now I want to help animals with this project. So I'm kind of focused on, like, that's who I'm helping, but just yeah, going out and being just, even just in a day, like yesterday, like I can get so wrapped up in my mind and, like, my own, this is hard, my hands hurt, like, this is, like, I'm overwhelmed, like, I just need things to be easier. And then, but I can go out to just the grocery store, have a conversation. Like, I had a conversation with a guy at the grocery store a couple days ago that totally lifted my spirits, because I was just really open and I wasn't rushed. I just took the time. He was helping me carry coconuts to my car. And he finally said, the light in you, like, really inspires me, and I got to preach veganism to him. and it was such a wonderful exchange. And it was just by being open. And I had the conscious thought, like, okay, let me go be a blessing to somebody else, and it wasn't any more than a conversation, but just, like, listening to him talk about, like, what he was dealing with, and just, like, being a friend, stranger for a minute. There's big and small ways, I guess, is what I'm saying, of doing that. And I just really appreciate that you are actively doing that. Awesome.
What I'm hearing is that suffering, like you mentioned your hands, I have the same thing, like, our interview started late because I had to rest as long as I could in bed, because for some reason, I don't know if it's the rain or whatever, but constantly moving, and then painting, and then everything. So, but what I was saying was, like, it seems like for me, the more I'm experiencing pain, and the more I'm experiencing being filled with the Spirit, the more that the pain cracks open and, like, light shines through. Like, I want to ask you about suffering, and I want to ask you about overcoming, and I want to ask you about, like, what you hear and what I'm saying.
I have to step back to get a perspective on it, because it's been such a long time, I mean, sometimes I just think it's an attack, and it's not fair, and there's nothing good about it. And sometimes I think it's all predestined and part of my life path. And sometimes I think that it's so intentionally directing me in my life and making me be the spirit that I'm meant to be, however it goes on after the spirit leaves the body. I know that so one thing that I haven't brought up miraculously this whole time, which is something I'm kind of obsessed with, is near-death experiences, because years ago I started hearing those, and I got more and more and more interested and read a lot of books, and you can find a lot of videos of them on YouTube, because it was so painful, and want to heal. I want to be happy. I mean, I want to physically heal, you know. I want us all to have a miracle, but barring that, I want to heal. I want my body to be as healthy as possible. I want to achieve my life's purpose. I want to be the best self that I can. And so I was trying, obviously, like, I want to know what's next, because this is hard, you know, like what am I supposed to be doing here? You know, like what's the point here? Because at the time I had lost, and I know that we were going to talk about spirituality. So these kind of tie together, I think, that's okay. But I had been raised, I'd been raised going to church, and I really believed in God, and I thought everything was like, if I just prayed, everything would be fine. Like now I lay me down to sleep at night, and I felt like God was a friend, and that, and then after the accident, I felt really betrayed by God, by life. And then I just decided that I don't know anything. And I took, some classes by a bunch of atheist professors in college and high school. And it just sort of was taught out of me, like, everything can be explained by evolution, and there's nothing spiritual that you can tap into. And I sort of just really accepted that worldview, and was more of an agnostic. And then I just was seeking healing and seeking, like, being able to cope with life. So I did a lot of different meditations. I Vedic meditation or whatever. Yeah. And where you say a mantra. I did that for years. And I studied Dr. Joe Dispenza a lot, which I learned a lot about the brain and energy. And, I don't agree with all of it now, but I learned a lot from it. I don't want to say anything bad about it. I got so much out of that, but that's not exactly that spiritual. It's more tries to be more science, and energy, and just like, if you get your body, like, to a certain, like, these elevated emotions of joy and positivity, like, it's really attractive, like, to the good things in your world. And so I did all kinds of meditating and trying to create my own life, the best life in my mind. And sometimes it would really work, like, I'd write down a certain amount of money I wanted, and it would come, and all of that. Then other times it just didn't, nothing would happen. And but basically, so the side-by-side thing was these constant near-death experiences. So suffering pushing me toward trying to figure out what the reason for being is, and not just being content and going along with life, not just being like, if we have all of our needs met, we don't seek for something greater.
Yeah.
We get lazy. So I was seeking, reading these experiences, and so I learned, you can learn so many profound truths, because once you realize that these people are telling you the truth. If you just go and watch 10 near-death experiences on heaven and hell, and they're all going to be unique, but you're going to start noticing these continuous threads. And so one is that God is a person. Like, God is somebody that is a father or a mother or whatever you want to say, but I just used to say father, but it doesn't matter. Obviously, it's one being, is what I'm saying. And he knows you very intimately, and he knows everything that you've been through, because he's like riding around. Like, you're not alone. We're not alone. Like, there's conscious entities with us, angelic beings or whatever. I don't think we can grasp what they are. I believe that there's good and there's evil, and there's a whole, like, spiritual world happening all the time. That's like, so when I came to more that belief, because that was through listening to hell experiences. So for a long time, I was like, whoever's talking about hell is insane. Like, there's no such thing as evil. That's what I thought. And then I started listening to a lot of those, and that's pretty amazing when you listen to an atheist say they went to hell. Anything was going to exist, and then they got tortured by demons and had this wild experience when their brain was completely dead. And people have medical records. People have, like, you can listen to scientists and doctors that have died, like who did not think that these were real experiences, and will tell you that it was way more vivid than this world. The colors are so much more intense. The feelings are so much more intense. You can see and feel everything way more intensely. So obviously, like, I just love these. But one thing that you learn is that every single thought you have and everything that you do, every word you say is recorded, not only from your perspective, but from everyone else's perspective. So when people say they, you know, their life flashed before their eyes, that's like part of it. But when you have when people have these deeper experiences, even the candy that you stole from like the teacher or whatever, like even from when you're a child on, every single thing that you've gone through and every single thing that you've done is forever, and it's recorded, and you relive it, and you kind of judge yourself like how well you did. So that's quite a comfort, and that's also quite a challenge, because now I just want to live with the highest integrity in every single thing that I do. And I know that like God is there, and I know that there's so much compassion for me. So when I'm suffering and when I'm having a hard time, I know that I'm like, I'm not alone in it, even though it doesn't really, I don't know, it helps so much, you know. It helps so much to know that it's witnessed.
Yeah. I don't know what, I have nerve pain, and it's like I'm getting electrocuted,
Whoa.
you know, like in my hips and like at night. And it's like having a seizure of like electrocution, like it, and it goes around like a light, has just a bing, and it's like, and then, and then, and sometimes it's so, it's like you said, like, I feel like I'm being attacked, like it's just not fair.
Yeah.
And it just like, it breaks me down, it breaks me down, it breaks me down, it breaks me down. And then it's like, I have no choice but to surrender. And like, I know that, and it's brought me closer to what you're talking about, to feel like no way, no, this torture, it doesn't make sense. And like, I understand like what's next, because this is okay. So, and now I'm like, well, I just need to live my life and do whatever I want to do now, because I need to have I want to interview people who inspire me, and I want to have discussions, and I want to share them, and I want to plant seeds of inspiration, and I want to have real vulnerable interactions, and I want to create, and I want to encourage other people to create and to really express who it is that they are, their essence. And it's like the pain has brought me to this place of just F this. Like I am just gonna do what I want, you know. Like, I don't know how to explain. I don't understand, Gretchen. Like, we're suffering. I know. So like, can you talk about your suffering?
Well, you know, I have pain, but I don't have pain like that. Like my hands are bothering me, and my back, like physical pain that I have is like a back pain, and I had like a surgery that I had years later, arthritis in my spine and arthritis in my hands. And my hands doing that, and they're like growing, like, yeah, it's like kind of, I think it's rheumatoid arthritis, and which they say is an autoimmune disease, but I don't know if that's right. And so I'm helping it. I'm really into nutrition and diet, and I believe that my body is a healing machine. I believe that our bodies are meant to heal, and that crazy things can be healed, you know. So I'm always just, I have to believe that, you know, and I'm always just trying to improve myself through food and through exercise and through rest and meditation, or, you know, prayer and meditation. And but it's also just emotional, just feeling alone, feeling like I'm not a real woman, that I'm a child, stuck as a child, and everyone looks down on me, and like that I feel judged. You know, I feel like put aside. Like, yeah, I mean, there's all those things that you could that I would think that people can imagine feeling like. And I think that our world is like, or our country is sort of a little too PC in a lot of ways. But one benefit that I'm feeling from it is that people are being more respectful of people's differences, you know, and just not wanting to dismiss people because they've put them in a category. Whereas when I was first hurt, I felt more shunned, you know, I felt more um, alienated in some ways, like, um, but it's like everything takes more time and it's harder and it's more expensive, and that's really hard, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone on this earth, like everyone's trying to take care of themselves. And I mean, definitely there's some people that are really affluent. There's a lot of people in our country that are really just living month to month, but they're on their feet. And like, then we're sitting down and dealing with all of these physical issues and pain, and then having to also pay the bills, you know, and then having the expense and the time of having to have a really expensive car, or you know, keep this chair working, you know, dealing with like flat tire and like rusty this or whatever
Yeah.
that. You know, I've got that Ogo, which is amazing, but it's glitchy and I need to pay for it. You know, I mean, it's brand new product. So they've worked a lot out, you know, but it's yeah, honestly, like that's been life changing. It's really great. I really want you to have one. It's so good. It's so helpful. It's really like
And you don't have to use your arms and your hands.
your arms and hands. It's like gives your arms and hands a break, and it's really fast. It looks cool. I mean, it does look different, you know, but it also looks like really sci-fi and cool. So I feel kind of like girl meets machine, you know, and that's been a super positive, hopeful, like good thing. But I'm also having to, you know, go into a lot of like debt, paying for it, and that's not fair.
Oh my gosh. I thought because
That is not suffering.
I thought because you were the agent that you would get a deal.
No, I have to pay for it. Yeah, I have to pay for the whole thing. But the thing is that I also am the agent, so when I sell them, I can get a commission. You know, so
Oh.
so I want to pay. So I'm paying for it with the commissions that I will, you know, hopefully be getting. It's incredible. I want everyone to buy it for their family because um, it's it lifted my spirit in a way that I didn't think that was possible emotionally and physically. Like, so my hands started getting so much better because I'm not shoving my chair around, and I have this feeling like, oh, I can just run out to the store. I'll just take it out the door and won't even think about it. Like I'll go like all around my neighborhood, like streets and streets and streets and streets. I'll pick up stuff and carry it in my hand on the way back, like, and just drive, like just fly around like I'm a normal person. Like I just leave my door and I'm like, and I just go, and it's not like this, you know.
Ugh.
So and then I can take it through like parks and grass and like all this stuff that I couldn't do before. So God willing, this is the future for every chair. Like I think that this technology is just totally, it's so obvious. Like this is the first, one of the first like incarnations of this thing. But all you do is lean to turn, and I feel like it looks awesome. And so that's been a huge blessing. Even so, like it also looked like it's really wild, you know, so people don't even know what to think when they see it. And I know, I feel like I'm still working on getting over just the feeling of being different.
Me too.
Always, you know. But the thing is that I feel like people are looking down on me and feeling like they're better than me. Like I'll see beautiful women that are walking around in mini skirts and high heels, and I'll just feel like they think of me as less than, and like men think of me as less than, like a broken one. Like you don't want the broken thing, like the broken pretzel or like the broken doll. You want the one that works well. So I have that awful thought, you know? And it's really true because people aren't like that. Like our spirit's not broken. Our spirit is huge and like so beloved, you know, and whole. But the body is like, the body's just the outside like carrier of it, and that's a trip.
Oh man, I wonder if my mission, part of the root of why I'm trying to convey spirit so much, is to level the field.
Wow.
Maybe you just made me realize, because it's like that trauma is so hard to deal with. And I see your spirit, and I want everybody to be able to see each other through their eyes. The God within me is the God within you, and like I want us all to relate like that.
And I bet you have that experience. Don't you have that experience when somebody like, don't you have friends that say to you, you know, when I first met you, all I saw was the chair, and now I forget that you're in a chair?
Yeah.
All the time. Like, cause all it takes is a few minutes, you know, like, and that's a cool thing that we can see in each other too, you know. But yeah, that makes sense, because on that level, we are equal, you know. And the challenge of the blessing that you give to people, that I give to people, like, you know, how we going back to what you were saying about going and helping others, and how it makes us feel better when we go help other people.
Yeah.
Just the interaction. Like when I was first hurt, I was like a 2-year-old. And so if somebody held the door for me, I would be insulted, because I'd be like, they're acting like I can't do it myself, I can do it myself, you know. And I had so much pride around, I can live on my own, I can do everything myself, I can get my own groceries, I can carry shit myself, you know. But then like, now I see that even if I don't need help, if someone offers me help, I do my best to accept it, because I know that they're going to go through the rest of their day like having that interaction where they help me with the door, and I was like, thank you so much, and then they feel nice and I feel helped and loved, and like then they are encouraged to be kind to more people. And I sometimes wish that I could be on the end of giving more, you know, than receiving all the time. But I see that it gives to them too, when people can help you, then they feel blessed. They feel empowered to be a good person in the world, you know?
Yeah. I was just having my first interview. I told you I practiced on one of my guests, and actually it turned out beautifully. And so I posted it. Shola, her name is, she was talking about the collective pain, and like how we are all experiencing this pain together. And when I see you, or when someone sees us, or, you know, it reflects back to them something inside of them, a pain inside of them. And then when they see us overcoming, or someone overcoming, it heals a part of them. And how if we're all able to face this pain compassionately and together, and to meet each other in witnessing it, and just being present with it and vulnerable, like it's healing for everyone.
Yeah, that really makes sense. It's always wonderful when you see somebody, that's why we like watching inspirational videos, you know, seeing people overcome things is healing for ourselves. It's true.
Yeah. I don't want to take up tons of your time. I know that you are working on your painting, and you have your life, and I really am grateful that you are having this discussion with me, and how much you're giving to the planet to ease the suffering of animals, and the conscious choices that you make on a daily basis to stay in high integrity, and you're a leader, and people can use your example as permission to do that within themselves. I feel that maybe we could just talk about this really quickly, like the lifestyles that you and I live, being vegan and being creative and being vulnerable. I feel that we need to like create new billboards, right? For people to see like, oh, I can do that, right? Like you need to create permission slips for people to look at and say, like, that's why I found you. I said, okay, I'm in a wheelchair. I need to find a beautiful, strong woman that's doing something amazing in a wheelchair, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do and I need to look up to someone, and I found you. And it's just like,
that I have chills all over that.
I found you, and you've helped me through this whole time, 9 years.
Wow, oh bless you for saying that. I love that you're vegan, you know. I didn't even say I didn't say that. I've had a plant-based diet since 2002, and I feel like it's helped my body stay together, you know, and it's helped my bones from breaking down as much, and I just feel like it's so pure, and I want everybody to eat that way, because it's really fun and healthy, and it's so much better for the animals and the water and the environment and the earth and everything. But but say that again, like what or not the whole thing, but
No, not the whole thing. I was just saying like it's good to see more examples of ways to be in this society, in this modern society. So often we just see a certain type of life path, you know, like, oh, we do this and then you do this and then this is the way we're supposed to look and this is what we buy, without, you know, and so much denial is actually built up from that, and suffering from that, because people aren't making the choices based on their essence. Like, I shouldn't just be buying this. Like, what does it really mean for the planet, and what byproducts, you know, I shouldn't just be eating this because it's what I see. It's like, what does this mean, you know? And it's like, to be a trailblazer of like really being diligent and responsible, like you are, with living in high integrity in the way you speak and what you speak about and everything. So I just like, I honor you, and I look up to you, and I get inspired to stay strong, because we all need to see that we can be good. Like, being good and pure is okay. It's not lame.
no, it's good. James Dean said only the gentle are ever really strong.
Yeah. I love that.
So it's so true. It is there's the strength in kindness and not being fit, you know. Like I have this conversation about veganism with some people that I feel so mad, and I'll just ruminate about it, because they'll be like, but they're animals. And it's like, okay, just because you have a view that animals are lower, which obviously they're different than us, but we are in charge, you know, and they're our responsibility. If you're in charge of a preschool, you know, if you have dominion over a preschool, or you're smarter than all those kids, what does that mean? It means take care of them and nurture them and make sure they're well fed and taken care of. You know, it doesn't mean like cut off their hair and sell it. It doesn't mean exploit them and use them because you have dominion or power, or you're smarter than them or bigger than them. You know, like humans are so pathetic in a lot of ways, where they're just like, well, it's smaller, it's weaker. Clearly I have the, you know, like I have the right because I can. Might makes right, you know. And I hate that. And I feel like, so this painting that I'm making, it's funny you use the word billboard, because how God works and how the universe works, because what I've been thinking for the past few days, because I'm making this huge painting. I don't know where it's going to go.
Yes.
But where I want it to go is like a billboard above the planet. Like that's ridiculous. I just want it to be hung above the planet, because everybody to look at it, because it's when you see it. I think you might have seen my study. I have my study up, but then I took it down, so don't tell anyone. So
Okay.
Composition, and so I want everybody to see it, that like, because in the painting depicts freedom and compassion, and it depicts fighting for fighting for the animals, you know. And of course, there's so many great. We should fight for the children. We should fight for old people and everybody that needs help, you know. But this is about about just leaving animals alone, basically, to run free and just leave them alone. And yeah, I want everybody to see it. I'm screaming with paint. It's like as big as I can, as loud as I can, as much work as I can in my broken state. I'm doing, like, I'm just like expressing as you know. And so in a way, just being in a chair too, I feel like brings more to it, because I am more like, one time when I was in art school, I did this I was in a performance art class, and I was learning about Chris Burden and these different artists that had used their bodies in really extreme ways to express themselves. And I did one performance piece where I got out of, like, I baked cookies. I mean, this is like a silly thing, but I baked cookies for everyone in my class. And then, like, I got out of my wheel. I had everyone sit in the ground in the circle, and I got out of my chair and, like, handed this bag of cookies to each person, and then got back in my chair and went to the next person and got on the ground again and handed them these cookies. And I said, I made these cookies for you. And so I was showing them love and compassion through my own suffering, that I was like working so hard for them, and they were so humbled and felt so probably awkward, and like, who knows what to think. I don't even know how to put that into words, you know. But I had but there's something out of your weakness to give, out of, you know, to show your strength through your weak state, that I feel like I want, maybe it will help people to hear what I'm trying to say, you know, if that, you know, well, I mean, for both of us, like, for, you know, through this like trial and this difficult place, you know, it makes what you do with your time, like, really even more powerful, right?
Yeah, because we could easily just, like, be in bed and
on welfare, we could just float by and really, like, on pizza and Coke and sitcoms, and just let our bodies deteriorate, which I think a lot of people do, because it's so painful. We could just anesthetize ourselves. We're choosing life, you know. And I struggle with alcohol, I'm sober, but I was sober for a long time. Then I started drinking again, and it's like the allure of it was checking out, because it's like the emotions around this situation, the disability, and I mean life in general, but it makes it even more like, I just want to, like, check out, you know.
I do know, and I feel that I get wobbly sometimes when I'm like, everything becomes overwhelming, and I'm going to go on a trip, and I'm starting to do this, and I'm starting to make more art, and I'm starting to share more. And so all of a sudden, all this new energy is coming through, and I'm like, I can't deal. I thought it was all so beautiful, but how do I deal? And I sense myself getting a little wobbly, like, oh, maybe, you know. And so I want to come back to center, because I know the times when I'm connected to something higher than myself, when I feel like I'm being guided by something other than Heather, it's so much more beautiful, and the driver is so strong, you know. And, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like every day I have to wake up, and I have to get in that, and it's easier. I just feel this. I wake up, and I'm like, I'm taken, you know. I've surrendered to God, and that is my power.
It's so good.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like I do, on the level that I can, because there's a feeling of feeling really exposed, when you put yourself out online too, which is a really unnatural, strange new thing that we're all like dealing with as humanity, and then you can second guess it, and like that, and you've also given yourself a big task to do, like to keep growing this and to keep working on it and everything. But that surrender, is that the word that like where you're just like, I mean, because I've been at the point where that's where I've gotten really strong guidance at certain points when I'm just saying, God, if I'm not supposed to be an artist because I can't figure out how to make this work financially, like I can't pay for my life. I'm afraid of if I can keep my house. Like if I'm not supposed to be an artist, like I give you my life. I've done that. I've just said, like, and at times when I didn't have a very good definition of God, I knew that there was God, and it's just like, whatever, like if you want me to go like help orphans in Africa, or like you just want to put me like I don't know. If I can't be a painter, I will do whatever. Like I just give it to you. So please just direct. And then like waking up the next day and having like a very clear next step, very clear from the exterior. That was like, oh, I guess I'm meant to do that, and I'm gonna keep being able to do this, But that's what we're supposed to be doing, I think, is that kind of listening that you're doing, because that guidance knows everything and knows your future and knows all potential paths, and you have free will. I have free will. So we can go a way that we think is right, but might not lead us to the outcome that's going to be best for us and everyone involved. We have a lot of people to help. Like everyone that's alive right now is here for a reason. And it's because they're here to help each other and to do stuff here. So I think asking for that and doing that every day, that's so powerful. I love that.
Thank you.
That's where you're feeling like ideas come from and stuff. Is that where you're hearing it?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself as clear as possible without my own judgments or my own ideas, like I've cried, I've said, what, I surrender. What am, I'm, please guide me. I don't know what to do, like I'm open, I'm available, I'm willing, like use me, because just my own path, I felt that I've created so much unnecessary struggle, and I just don't see, and I'm like, I want to do the best. I want to do the best that I can. I want to be of service, and I don't know how. I'm in pain. I want to go to the Alzheimer's home across the street and be with these people that are struggling, and it's like I'm in so much pain, like I can't really even leave my house. It's like, what am I supposed to do? How do I help? I want to go out and be in the community, and it's like I don't know what to do. It's just too painful. So what do I do, And this is what's happening. It's just like I wake
From your own house.
Yeah. And I wake up and I'm just like guided to do these things, and I just listen, and I'm like, oh, make a video. Oh, ask Gretchen if she wants to do an interview. Oh, make a song. Oh, I don't know what's going on.
So beautiful. That's so beautiful. I mean, out of the blackness, is like the word, and then you're creating. It's so good. It's so good. And I'm sorry that like it's so hard to hear you that's the state of things, that it's like keeping you from exploring the world and from enjoying, because I know pain is just like completely demands your focus, I mean, it's just like you can't, if your body isn't into it, there's nothing you can do, so you doing what you are is really, really inspiring to me. You're so talented, and you're just a beautiful woman, a beautiful spirit and friend, and I'm really grateful to know you, and I am encouraged by this conversation. I'm encouraged, and I feel like camaraderie and just good, and I hope that somebody hears this, that it also makes them feel like uplifted and inspired, and in the face of whatever they're going through, to keep going and to do, like, to not only keep going, but to, like you said, to aspire to do your best, to do the best that you can, you know? So good.
Well, we're here.
While we're here.
We're here to do some stuff, some really cool stuff for each other.
Yes, we are. We are. And it's really great when we leave too. Like, to look forward to. Sorry, but it's true. I can't wait.
I know. I totally feel you.
By all accounts, unless you get a big F, you know, unless you're just like kind of not, like, it's really awesome when you go. So we always have that to look forward to. But we have to be here while we're here. We're meant to be here. Yeah.
I love you for being so honest, Gretchen.
I can't wait to die. But I'm here, so I'm making the best of it.
Oh my God. I feel the same way.
You're so great.
Well, thank you for doing this with me. And I hope it helps anyone. I hope it helps someone. And yeah, so Gretchen, she's doing this amazing billboard for the planet. And if you want to support her, please visit her Patreon page and become a patron like I am, and receive an amazing piece of art in the mail, and you'd be surprised and inspire your friends, and the information that you put on the back is so well put. You know, you give facts and then you give solutions, and that's just like it's you're amazing. Yeah, so go visit her Patreon and follow along on your social media to see the process. And you're doing such beautiful work. You're an angel. I'm so glad that I got so much of your time today to talk with you about all of this stuff.
Thank you so much, Heather. And everyone support Heather's Patreon too. And you get her videos and her songs and all the beautiful things that she's creating. And she might even interview you too.
Yep, I'm interviewing my patrons. All right, well, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can just say goodbye after. Okay.